Hi there, I'm Nick Krein, and I will be talking about Men for Women's Rights, pro-feminism. Uh, Looking at pro-feminism, it's best to look at the word feminism first to help get a better understanding of what pro-feminism is. The word feminism can be described as the advocacy for women's rights on the grounds of political, social, and economic equality to men. Feminism is a fight for women to have the same opportunities as men to gain gender equality. Feminism is a very female-dominated topic, and women are considered feminists. So a woman that believes in feminism is a feminist. Pro-feminism are men who are sympathetic to feminist understandings of society. Women suffer inequalities and injustices in society and culture is a strong belief for them. Men receive various forms of power and privilege. So they understand that men overall traditionally have power and privilege, and women do not. They also understand that currently the dominant model of manhood is very oppressive to women. And they take responsibility for this. They take responsibility for sexist behaviors and attitudes. Really what women want is equality, but that doesn't come easy at all. It's been a lifelong filled with sexist acts, oppression. Women have dealt with many things in many different ways, through violence and being degraded, just overall being oppressed. When you look at gender inequality, it's an unequal treatment of women based solely on their gender. So just because they're a woman, people treat them differently, treat them as an unequal, as less of a person. This leads to oppression of women's rights and pursuit of equal opportunity for these women, for all women. When we look at the word gender roles, it's a set of social norms that dictate what types of behaviors are generally acceptable, appropriate, or desired based on perceived gender. And when you look at femininity versus masculinity, this shows up a lot. You know, when you look at femininity, gender role, you think of housework and child rearing, and not so much when you think of masculinity. Masculinity, you think of bringing home the paycheck and such, being the man of the house as a gender role. But when you do look at it, the commonalities between femininity and masculinity are there. There was a survey done on and asked men and women what they want, what they deem important in their lives, and being a good parent, successful high-paying career, successful marriage. All three of these, both men and women, both rated them very high, pretty much straight across the board, as you could see. And really this just shows us that men and women want the same thing. They want good careers, they want loving relationships, and they want happy families. Looking at the history of pro-feminism, I could look back at the revolutionary 1790s. This was really the birthplace of feminism, pro-feminism, and in the belief that men can help women gain equalities. The first men did receive a lot of backlash because some other men didn't really trust in why they were trying to help these women. They just thought they were being selfish, and they were trying to gain their own footholds on society instead of actually helping women. But people like Thomas Starling Norgate wrote a lot of literary works on female education, publishing, marriage reform, citizenship. And then there's also pro-feminist pioneers such as Thomas Cadell, John Jebb, Alexander Jardine, Thomas Garnett, all on the forefront. They were very vocal, very out there, willing to stand up for women's rights. They were booksellers, editors, critics of the women's reformist writings. And this period of time and its contributions are definitely seen as the making of modern feminism. The feminist movement in itself looking at the feminist movement before pro-feminist movement. There's the Feminist Peace Network, amongst other things. They advocate women's human rights, things such as education, health, economics, the environment, the media. And they do this a lot through essays, books, and articles. And there's many other advocates for the feminist movements, against violence against women, trying to secure women's rights, equality, and justice for all the women. And through the feminist movements, there's been a lot of positives, again, through the essays and the books and the articles and the media, but also peaceful sit-ins and protests have been very successful as well. Not so successful have been riots, violence, trespassing, and destruction of property. These types of things break down the movement, and it really stalls it out. That definitely doesn't help out. When you look at pro-feminist movement, the way through my research I found the best way to look at it is through waves. This is actually a Marxist thought, in that it's not a one-time revolution through the movement. It's not done overnight, and it must be done in stages. So think of it as waves in the ocean, one after the next. It's just not one big swoop. When you look at the first stage, it's almost like the rock being thrown, which starts the wave. It's understanding that there is an issue, there is oppression out there, and something needs to be done about it. So each wave, again, is breaking down the old system, and alternating waves of growth and positivity need to be thrown in as well. So it's breaking down and then building up, and looking at it as a daily fight. It's not going to be done overnight. Pro-feminist movement, there's organizations, campaigns, databases, online journals, discussion groups, publications that are all pro-feminist. They're all out there. There's organizations in the United States and the worldwide organizations. Listed here are a few, like the National Organization of Men Against Sexism, Canada's Men for Change, all very pro-feminist groups that are out there, and very positive outlook. Looking at men as allies to women and pro-feminism, when we tear down traditional gender roles and realize that masculinity and femininity are there, and realize that they're there, but they're not, they can't be brought upon as what people are seen as. Men that are pro-feminists are simultaneously looked at as enabled, but at the same time constrained. They're rewarded, but yet criticized. They're given premature star status, but at the same time critically scrutinized. And this is all for just carving out space as feminist allies. Again, lifelong struggle and battle that must be fought at a daily basis. The thought of equality of, Kathy Caprino brings up a great saying here: equality of women cannot progress without the involvement and collaboration with men. And she goes on and describes 6 ways men can help women gain equality. I'll read through these. It's not women empowerment, it's human empowerment. Again, it's a fight for humanity, not just one gender. Politics and business needs more feminine traits, being more sincere and such, help business in the long run, politics especially. Prioritize the diversity of talent. So treat people the way that, based on how well they do and how hard they work, not on just their gender. And balance workload and responsibilities at home. This will transgress into the workplace as well. But again, just realizing that just because you're a man, you can also do the laundry and do the dishes and such. The power of the media. Power of the media holds a lot of power, really. It's if there's more female headlines out there, feminine headlines of showing how women are succeeding, people will see that and they'll be more proactive about it. And finally, if men just serve as role models, show their kids, show others that it's best for everyone if we help women strive. Just as women need men, men need women. It's a two-way street. Men must take responsibility for their sexist behaviors and attitudes and work towards changing those societies' view of gender roles through personal and social aspects of our culture. We need to learn from the past, both the successes and our failures, and we need to break those traditional feminine and masculine gender roles down. Society has come a really long way since the beginning of, just under 100 years ago, the women were given a right to vote, and now in the next year or so, we may just have a woman president. You never know. Well, that concludes my pro-feminist presentation. I hope that it was very informative for you. Thank you for your time.